So some important bits of information. I wanted to show you how to smooth also the inside of the shape. I'm going to go a bit faster. I'm scoring the edges of my base to create a rough surface so that the coils will stick. I'm making some slip with water and clay, and with my paintbrush I'm adding the slip there. This is one way of making slip. Another way is to put some dry clay and add water, and you create a slurry. This is much thicker. So this kind of slip is probably a better glue. It doesn't matter for small shapes to use slip from a little pot, but if you're going for bigger shapes, I would encourage you to make a slurry with water and dry clay. And then you can place that slurry on the edge. Add your coils. And I'm going to stop here because I want to show you how to join and smooth the inside of your pot. This is a very important step because if you don't join all the coils properly, you risk your pot to fall apart. In the previous section of this video, I explained that it's important to join things properly, especially when you're going to fire your clay. See, I'm smoothing down in one direction the clay. The clay we're using in these workshops at the Bethlehem is air drying clay. So this clay won't be fired. It cannot be fired because it has an inclusion. It's got some nylon inside its body. Inside the clay there is a bit of nylon, and the reason that the air drying clay has the nylon is so that it can actually dry in the air and remain quite strong. So this kind of pot that we're doing in our workshops, we can then decorate with some acrylic paints if we wish. But if you were doing this with normal clay, not air drying clay, you would want to really make sure that all your joins are strong also on the inside. And you can use your finger and the back of your finger as a tool to smooth things. You will find your own way. Some people prefer using tools, some people like me prefer using their hands. I really like getting my hands stuck in the clay, in the material, because I find it very soothing and satisfying. So you start by doing the inside. When you're happy that the inside is smoothed and stuck together, just give it a little pat down to make sure that it's well glued. As I showed you in the previous section of this video, I can do also the outside. Now it's important that when you smooth things, you always go in the same direction. So some people like smoothing from down up, And some people like smoothing from up down, but doesn't matter which way you go. But the important thing is that you keep going in the same direction, otherwise your pot will become very uneven in thickness. What we're aiming for is to have the walls of your pot an even, well stuck together, all the coils, and an even thickness. And so on. As you can see, it's handy to have it on a piece of paper so that you can rotate it easily. And then you can use your fingers to smooth that rough surface, or you can have a rough surface if you want. I like pots with rough surfaces. It's up to you, the qualities that you want to give it. You can also roll it gently to make it rounder. If you see any areas of weakness like there, make sure that you attend to those by giving it more integrity. You can smooth it with your finger. If you find that the clay gets too dry as you're working, you can always dip your finger in a bit of water, like so. The other thing I wanted to tell you, which is very important to remember, is that if this was made of clay to be fired rather than air drying clay, you would need to make a hole in the side of the pot. The reason is that when it goes into the kiln, it can explode because the air inside expands. So you would decide where you want your hole. You might want it on the side or halfway up. It doesn't need to be a big hole. So I've used this plastic tool to make a little indent. I just need to make sure that that hole connects to the hollow part of the pot. I'm using these plastic tools that you should have with the workshop, but equally you could use a point, like a pen, and then perhaps you have a smaller hole. So that's it. Remember to do your joins, and if you're going to fire this, to make a hole for the air to escape.